Good evening. Good evening. So, Devansh, where were you last time?
Sir, I wasn't well.
Okay. Are you all right now?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. And I think Adhiricha is not well today. Yes, Srishti, how are you doing?
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
Great. इतना अंधेरा क्यों है?
सर आज लाइट की फैसिलिटी अच्छी नहीं है, that's why लाइट नहीं करता.
बिजली नहीं है.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prachi, how are you doing?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah.
So you studied anything in last
Yes,
1
sir.
week? Okay.
Yes, sir.
You had one extra session also, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This
sir.
week you had an extra class.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yes, Anamika? Eh?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. You spoke so fast, I could not listen. Okay. So how was the week for all of you?
So it was fun. You-
Weekend is terrible.
New things started and so many new things happened, so that's why it was fun.
Okay. So what new thing started?
So my new semester started and I'm excited about that, and that is why.
Great, great. So Akriti, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you doing?
I am good, sir.
Okay, okay. Anything new?
Sir, my new semester is also started.
Okay. So how many of you are going to new semesters? And विशाखा गांव से लौटी कि नहीं? पूछते नहीं हो अपनी सहेलियों को. Yes, Bushra, how are you? How is your health? She did connect, but
He is not here.
she's not here. She did connect, but she's joining. There may be some issue with the network. Okay. Any news on Vishakha and Shakti? No. पूछते नहीं हो?
Shakha has asked for the link today, but I don't have any news of Shakti.
Okay, okay, okay. तो वो गांव से आ गई? पता नहीं. Okay, okay. Yeah, Bushra, how are you? How is your health?
Yes, sir, it's fine now.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Great. So we still have Ruchi missing. Adhiricha will not come. Vishakha is gone to Gaon. Now who else left?
Sahima.
Hima. Any news of her?
No.
No. ओहो। तो लगता है आप लोगों को फैकल्टी बदलना पड़ेगा नहीं? मेरी अंडर एब्सेंटिज्म बढ़ गया ऐसा है? Okay. Now today's session, as I had posted on the group also, we will be having an expert session. We have invited Mr. Anirudh Panchal. So he will be joining us today during our session. So there is a ink manufacturing company. It's called Huber Group. At times we find a lot of things. Yeah, Vishakha has come. So lot of industries, lot of product manufacturers to exist. We see a lot of things in the case studies. Okay, so I thought that let's have someone from the industry as well for our session, so that you can have a virtual tour to industries. You can just try to understand how it works. So though we are trying and discussing things on the company's parlance, on the organizational parlance, whenever we are covering any topic, whether it is me or ma'am, we discuss case studies. Okay, we take scenarios which are there in the organization, whatever we experienced during our working tenure. Namaskar, Devi ji. ऐसे ही ना पीछे सूर्य चमकता है ना भगवान के, ऐसा इसके पीछे बल्ब जल रहा है. Okay, so we will be interacting with him as we are discussing this performance management system. Okay, so I have requested him to speak more about performance appraisal, performance management system, how it is being done in his organization. He is working in the capacity of Vice President, Human Resource and General Administration of the Huber Group. Huber is a German multinational now. It was an Indian company. They are leading ink manufacturers. Now, the ink only we know is in our ballpoint pen, okay, or in an ink pen. Nib wala pen jo aata tha, usme Camlin was the brand which we were used to use when we were young, of your age. Okay, and now we have ballpoint pens where we use the ink, right? So this was the only awareness or idea about ink by the time I met him. Having interacted with him and after meeting with him, we realized that it's not only the ink which you use in your pen, but the world over, ink is a very precious thing. And then I realized and understood that any material, any product which is pre-printed, any packaging which is pre-printed, they all have very specialized inks to be used. And Huber Group is one such organization which leads the manufacturing in India. All printing or printable inks. So we will be discussing with him and we'll have an insight. Okay. And then as I said that you can ask any and every question that you learned so far. He has a very vast experience of leading human resource for very big organizations. So anything that we covered so far in our learning, whether me or ma'am, whatever we have covered to teach you, you can ask questions in connection to all those things or any other query that comes up during the discussion. Okay, so it has to be a very interactive session, more of the question answers, less of his theory. I doubt he'll be having any presentation or anything. It will be, largely it will be mock conversation. So try to utilize this as much as possible, and we will have many such interactions in future with such learned people. And then we had some assignment last week. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. We can start with one by a time sir joins. We can discuss that. Okay. So it was about the biases in performance management system, right? So there were about 8 or 9 bias in the performance management system. What else we covered last week?
So we covered what drives performance and performance appraisal and theory X, theory Y.
Okay, so what drives performance?
So drives motivation.
Motivation, correct. Then
Internal
what
or
are the
external.
types of motivation?
Internal and external.
Intrinsic and extrinsic.
Yes.
Okay, then Devansh, could you go through the video of last week, the session that you could not attend?
No, sir.
Oh, too busy.
Sir, classes, online classes.
Okay, okay. So how will you recover that?
Sir, I will take.
Please.
Yes,
So
sir.
what we did last week, I'll just brief because Vishak also was not there, and then I think Bushra also didn't attend the last session, right? And you are also not there. So what we covered last week was about performance appraisal and management system. As Srishti said, that the first question which was posed on them was about what ensures performance. What is the thing or what are the factors that will make you perform? So it is nothing but the motivation. You need to be motivated, you need to be excited about doing things. Then only you will excel and you'll perform much better, right? So motivation is the key factor behind any performance excellence. And then we talked about the type of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic is motivation within. I feel like doing it. I wish to do this. I enjoy doing it. And therefore, I try to improvise upon this. That is intrinsic. And then second one is extrinsic. Extrinsic is you do it because of certain external factors. I do this because I get an appraisal. I do this because someone appreciates me. I do social surveys because I get good recognition in social media. है ना, एक कंबल बांट के 25 फोटो अपलोड करना. So that is extrinsic motivation, right? So these are the two things we spoke last week. All right. Okay. What next, Anamika? What was that after this?
Theory X and theory Y, authoritarian and participant.
Correct. Theory X and theory Y. किसने दिया था theory? McGregor. So McGregor said that organizations operate on two different types. Okay, one is authoritarian and second is participative. Matlab, one kind of industry will be such where the top management, promoters, the bosses, they will dictate the terms because they assume that theory X is what? It is negative or positive, Prachi?
Positive, sir.
Theory X is positive? No, theory X is
Yes.
negative.
Why?
Theory X is negative. Theory X says that people are not good resource. By nature, they don't want to work. That is theory X, right? है ना, आप लोगों को अपना मन से पढ़ने की इच्छा नहीं होती, theory X पढ़ना पड़ता है, घर वालों को लगता है कि मारेंगे नहीं, डांटेंगे तो ये पढ़ेंगे नहीं, मतलब मेरे घर में ऐसा ही है, आप लोग तो होशियार बच्चे हो, है ना. So that is theory X. Okay, what is theory Y?
Sir, participative.
Participative. What is participative?
Sir, they give internal motivation to the employees to do work better.
अर्थात
Sir, motivating environment.
हाँ, मतलब इंडस्ट्रीज ऐसा है जो ये मानता है कि आप लोगों को मोटिवेट करेंगे, उन पे भरोसा करेंगे तो अच्छा काम करेंगे, क्या ना. दैट इज थियरी वाई इट इज ऑन अ पॉजिटिव नोट, दैट इज वाई इट इज पार्टिसिपेटिव, राइट. डेफिनेशन से ज्यादा अपन उस कंसेप्ट को समझने की कोशिश करेंगे ना तो जल्दी याद रहेगा और हमको हेल्प करेगा, है ना. सो वन इज द अथॉरिटेरियन वेयर मैनेजमेंट डिसाइड्स दैट पीपल आर यूजलेस, दे विल नॉट वर्क अनलेस वी कॉल देम, unless we punish them, है ना. And theory Y talks about participative organizations where reward and recognitions can motivate people. People are resources, है ना. So there is two kind of theories. Okay, what next we did, Akriti?
Sir, biases and judgment.
Biases and judgment. Okay, so biases and judgment was an assignment, right? So कौन-कौन से biases हैं? How many biases we have?
So first impression,
First impression, okay.
hollow,
On effect,
Horn
halo,
effect,
Horn effect,
central
halo effect,
tendency, central tendency,
central tendency,
Personal biases.
personal biases,
spillover effect, and recency effect.
okay. Then
extra stiffness or extreme stiffness or extreme leniency.
extreme stiffness or extreme leniency, correct. Then which one left?
So generalized,
Generalization, yes, that was not there in the list, but we spoke about it.
yes, sir.
Okay, then
Spillover,
which one? Spillover. Spillover, okay. Then
So I think we all said that, means it done.
right. Recency effect,
We said that.
we said that. Okay, so about 8 such things that we spoke about, biases and judgment, है ना. आप जब appraisal करते हैं तो at that point of time what are the areas which can have an impact, है ना, on final appraisal. Okay, what else we did then?
So performance appraisal and their tools.
Okay, then what else?
smart goals, OKRs, and
Okay, so we know what the SMART means.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Bushra, you know what SMART means?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does SMART means? Tell me.
Sir, doing something in a more convenient way with using less resources and doing it in a more good manner.
Okay. What is the full form of SMART? I think you covered in those extra classes.
Sir, I don't remember.
Okay. Devansh?
So I also don't remember.
Short-term memory loss. Vishakha?
Not remembering the full form, but it is means that how we can set our objective or goal of the organization in a smart or better way.
Okay. What is the full form of SMART? Because we did it
Sir, I'm
repeatedly.
not
na?
remembering.
Okay.
It is
Who can tell me? Prachi, can you tell me?
Yes, sir. So SMART stands for specific, measurable,
Okay.
attainable,
Okay.
SMA, realistic, and T, time bound.
Correct. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. These are the criteria to set the goals. Right, Vishakha?
yes, sir, sure.
Okay. Fine. Any example of SMART goal?
Sir, project management.
Example. If I have to say this is a SMART goal, any statement that will be a SMART goal.
A company has to recover 1 lakh sale by the end of March.
Come again.
So a company, I just gave the company name A.
Okay.
Suppose
Okay.
a company has to recover 1 lakh sale by the end of March, and today it's December.
Right. Okay. Fine. So we will continue this discussion and we will again see that assignment. Okay. Meanwhile, Anirudh sir is present among us. Sir was not keeping well, like many of us. However, he still agreed to meet the commitment, right? And this is off the record. If we talk about leadership, this is one of the trait of leadership, to stick to your commitments. Come what may, you are available for your people, for your team, for the resources. Okay, so this is one trait. This is a bonus learning for the session. It's a leadership trait. So I welcome Anirudh sir. Anirudh bhai, very warm welcome to this forum of Young Skill India. So unmute.
Unmute. Yeah.
So I already briefed about you to all of them. Still, I'll once again, reintroduce you. So Anirudh sir is VP HR and Administration with the German Inc. multinational manufacturing company Huber Group. By qualification, he's a mechanical engineer. That was his basic qualification. Then later he graduated to human resource management. And this I came to know once I interacted with him some times ago. He's been a very, nice human being, a very learned HR professional. He pursues a lot of hobbies. He's very active on even the social media also. But at the same time, his connect with people is something which makes him, unique in this profession. So not take much of time of Anirudh bhai. He's not keeping well. So over to you, Anirudh bhai, and I request all the students to take the advantage of his knowledge and intellect and experience.
Okay, good evening, friends. Thank you, Hardik, for giving me this opportunity to interact. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just share my concepts on performance management, and then maybe we can open up for any questions that you may have. Okay. So every organization, one of the most important thing about all the organization, they exist for some profits. They do not just exist for charity. So they exist for profit. And therefore, every organization has a target to achieve. And to be able to achieve that kind of a target, they need the people also to be aligned to that kind of a target. So performance management begins actually from what the company or the organization is wishing to achieve in the short term and the long term category. Not only that, it also would clarify how it wants to achieve. In the sense, while achieving those targets in the current time, it has become so important that they have to take care of the society around, they have to take care of the environment, they have to be ethical. And most of the organizations are following the rules of ethics. In fact, there are organizations who have gone to an extent that they would carry out an ethical audit on the organization before giving orders to that organization. So the future is quite different in that sense, that you cannot do anything to achieve your goals. So first of all, the organization would set its own mission. There is a lot of confusion between mission and vision. But I'll just clarify for the sake of you people. Vision is connected with eyes and the sight. So if I say what's the vision of this company 5 years hence, which means how does the company want to look after 5 years? So let's say today, if it is 1,000 crore company, how does it want to look? A 5,000 crore company or 2,000 crore company or anything else, to be right now they are only serving a particular segment of the market, only in India. The vision could be to create a reach globally. That's the vision part. Mission is the never-ending errand that the company, the bosses may change, the board may change, but the company would still exist for a particular mission. Okay, so if I quote an example of Mother Teresa, her mission was to serve the downtrodden and the people who need, the needy people. So her mission still continues even if she is not there. Similarly, an organization, for example, a pharma organization can have that, saving lives could be the mission. And then that legacy is carried on from generations to generation. Once the mission vision is set, the organization would naturally have the targets for the next year. So it will be the company targets. Now these company targets get cascaded down to various departmental targets. So every department would have targets of its own. For example, the production department would have a target of yield, efficiencies, operational efficiencies, and the like. The sales or the marketing department would have a target of adding new customer, increasing the sales, increasing the EBIT or the earning before interest, depreciation, tax, and the like. Similarly, you have a human resource department. It would have a target of what kind of employee engagement index it would like to have, or the employee satisfaction index it would like to have, what kind of efficiency in terms of hiring it would like to have. So there are various targets for the HR function also. And similarly, finance, what kind of working capital management it targets it has to target, or how it wants to use the excess fund that the company has in reserve. These are the various targets that it would like to set. Now, below that, there is a team of people who would all collaborate and contribute to achieving the departmental targets. Now, before I proceed further, I want to make a clear difference between a performance management and performance appraisal. Both are two different things. Whereas performance management is a process, it's a year-round process, and performance appraisal is a year-end event. So there are two different, very important glaring difference. Performance management is a process, and performance appraisal is an event. So this is something that you need to be very clear about. So when I talk about every department has set their own goals, Hardik was just mentioning about SMART goals. What kind of goals? SMART means specific, which means you are able to clearly define what you want to achieve. For example, increase sales in the coming year by, and let's keep it at that, the increase sales in the coming year. Now this is not a specific target. A specific target will increase sales by 10%, 20%, or increase sales from X crore to Y crores. This is being specific. Then measurable. Okay, let me talk about specificity more. Increase sales of what? So increase sales of let's say a particular drug, we can say, okay, the drug related to diabetes by X. The second part which I mentioned, from X to Y crores, is the measurable part. Then specific, measurable. There are many people who say achievable. Achievable means, is it within the capacity of the individual to reach that goal, or it is something out of the blue? So that is achievable. But many a time achievable and realistics are becoming common. Realistic is whether it is achievable or not. So instead of achievable, considering A as achievable, it would be better to put A as accountable. Now, who is accountable for that kind of goal? Then we go to the realisticness, SMAR. So realistic means, hope it is not out of the blue. Let's say a person says, I want to increase my sales by 50 crores from 10 crores. Now, this is something which is ridiculous. And if he really means that, he should have a backup plan. He should have the analysis of the market intelligence to be able to claim that kind of goal. So that is realistic. And time bound, obviously, by what time he would like to achieve this kind of a goal. So there is an elaborate goal setting exercise, and in such a way that all the individual goals, all put together, ultimately leads to the departmental goal. If all the departments are able to achieve that goal, the company would achieve their own goals. So that is the whole process. This is what we call, and all the year round, what happens once those goals are set, at regular intervals a review is done. Now, review is not about labeling the person whether you have done good, bad, worst, whatever. It is about how to help the individual achieve the goal that he has set mutually between he and his boss. Okay, so this is what we call as performance management. What do we have to do by managing performance is to help the people achieve their own goals. If they got stuck somewhere, it is the responsibility of the supervisor or the boss to make sure that they achieve their own goals, right? So all throughout the year, this keeps happening. Typically, I would recommend that one should not, disclose a rating. Okay, fine. Since you have achieved so much, so I will put you in average category. Since you have achieved so much, I will put you in good category or excellent category. Now, this will become very unproductive, because no individual likes to be labeled. Okay, every individual, every employee wants that freedom to achieve what he is supposed to achieve. Once we give a label, the person becomes biased. He becomes confused. That, see, I am average. In spite of doing so much, I am average. And mind keeps on pondering over those kind of things. So normally I recommend all throughout the year, never share the rating, because that will become appraisal in between, right? We don't want to do appraisal. We want to do appraisal only in the end of the year, at the end of the year. Fine. During the year, it should be only performance management, means to help the employees achieve their own goal, provide them the resource, provide them the guidance, provide them with training, whatever is required, so that they are successful, in order to ensure that the department is successful. This is something very, very important in terms of management. Now, this process keeps on happening all throughout the year, and in the end of the year, we have the performance appraisal. Appraisal means evaluation. Now, typically, most of the companies say, okay, fine, they keep a rating, 4 ratings generally on a Likert scale, less than achieved goals, just about achieved goals, more than achieved goals, or far more than achieved. There is some kind of 4-point rating that they provide. And then there is a blanket increment of whatever percentage the company is able to afford. Now, here I want to share one more thing, that performance management, and then which is ending into performance appraisal, has some more inputs to be given actually. So in an organization, it is very important to identify various job groups, and each job would have a band of salary. Okay, a particular, for example, an accountant, accounts receivables accountant. Okay, that particular job would have, a designation from, let's say, executive to assistant manager in same job, and the salary could be from band X to band Y, right? So while doing the appraisal, one should also see whether they are in the right bands. If they are in the right bands, you need not worry much about it, because then you would have done the benchmark with the industries around. Okay, and so that is one more input to the whole appraisal system. And then you have a various kinds of rating, provide them the amount. Secondly, one has to also take care of whether it is not having a perpetual effect. Perpetual effect means you keep on increasing the salary of people, but the job content do not change. Then the company is likely to end into trouble later on. So it is advisable that the permanent rise in the salary is kept to, let's say, between 5 to 8%, which we should provide for the inflation of the country, and the remaining should be given as a cash award, which is proportionate to the amount of profit the company would have been able to make. This will ensure that the company doesn't land up into a situation where everyone is paid very high, but the outputs are the same. Okay, so this is very important. So in the appraisal part, this is what I had to share about the appraisal part. Now let me share about what kind of how do you judge performance. So there are some for example, you would not like to have a situation where in the end of the year you realize suddenly the person has not performed, right? So there are two things which you should note down. There are leading indicators and lagging indicators. Okay, lagging indicators are like, let's say you just look at what has been the sales for the last 6 months, and then say, okay, fine, the sales for the last 6 months have been 1,000 crores. Can you do something about it? Can you increase it? The whole 6 months have passed, so probably you cannot increase this. But if you look at the trend line for those 6 months and you start looking at well before, okay, let's say you started in the month of April, and in April, May, June, July, August, and September. Let's say in September you should achieve 1,000 crores. So every month you should be achieving around 150 to 180 crores. Okay, so you measure in April. In April, if it is 200 crores, fine, you are happy about it. You go into May. In May, it has reduced. It has become 150 crores. But what is the average? You are still okay. So the method of monitoring the trend of the way goals are achieved, the targets are achieved, is nothing but what we call as a leading indicator. So even before September, you will get to know whether we are likely to achieve that goal or not. So you'll find a lot of material on the net in terms of what are leading and the lagging indicators, what I'm talking about. Okay, in every department, you'll find a leading indicator and a lagging indicator. Lagging indicator just says the current status, whereas a leading indicator says what is likely to happen in the future, and therefore what kind of precautions one should take right away. Okay, so maybe what I can do is I have shared in general an outline of performance management system which various companies would have. I will share about the how part of it. So the company in the beginning, the company would share that what kind of values we want to promote in the company. And it is very, very important that one should not be achieving the goals at the cost of other department. I'll give you a classic example. The marketing and the sales team, in order for them to be able to make a sale, would say that you should keep so much of inventory. Okay. Whereas the purchase department or the production department would have a target of ensuring that there is minimum inventory. Now there is a conflict between these two departments, right? One says you keep more inventory so that we can service the customer. The other department says we'll not keep more inventory because it will increase the operational cost. Now, if the production continues to make sure that inventory is kept to a minimum, which is actually ultimately resulting in salespeople not being able to make a sale, then production is achieving their target at the cost of sales department. Okay, so you cannot kill other department and achieve what you want. So in an organization, These things have to be done collectively. Collaboration in an organization is very, very important thing, and performance management is a very good tool to ensure that there is collaboration among departments. Okay. So in the beginning of the year, the company would like to set the various values, like we want to be customer oriented. We want to follow, we will do business ethically. Okay. We will respect individuals. And then, how these values are, being monitored. There can be a survey done whether the person is doing that or not, or simple, whenever there is a challenge of, a goal being achieved or not achieved, the value part will automatically come up. For example, the sales guy is not able to make a sale. If you go into depth of it, or maybe meet the customer and say, what is really going wrong? And the customer might say that, I've been talking about this problem for 6 months and your sales guy is just not responding on it. He only wants orders. In this process, what we get to learn is that the sales guy was not customer oriented. He might have pushed because of the company's monopoly product. He might have been able to achieve the target, but he has not been customer oriented. And that should actually get a beating on that. So in the final appraisal, let's say he might have scored 100 marks, but because he has not proved to be customer oriented, he would be, applied a factor of 0.9. So you will not get 100% increment, but you'll get 0.9 increment. And this can be shared in words to the sales guy. So these values are also very, very important when a performance management system is being implemented. Okay. Now I would like you to ask me some questions so that, I get to know what actually you are looking out for. This is a general performance management ending into a performance appraisal cycle. Okay. So I'd like to hear from you. Hardik, maybe you can facilitate. Hello.
Yes. So Srishti, Anamika, what is your understanding, Bushra?
You can ask any questions on this, not an issue.
So what kind of difficulties any organization faces in performing the performance management?
The major difficulty that the people generally organization face is, how to make the accountability come into picture. Okay. Many times there are goals which are shared, I may not be able to achieve my own target without the help of others. So it sets a question on the accountability. Who all are accountable for something good that is happening in the organization? This is one difficulty. Secondly, there are, not everyone is able to articulate the goals properly. So they would need help, and let's say if you have some 1,000 people in your organization, it's going to be very difficult to make sure that everyone has set SMART goals. And then one has to, it needs a whole team to make sure that these people have set the SMART goals. So there are a couple of things which I have experienced that the organization face difficulty with.
Okay,
So understanding company's mission, vision, okay, and then converting into your own achievable goals. That can be a challenge during the entire process. So here we need to understand the difference between performance management system and appraisal. As the sir has said, that appraisal is an event and management system is a process. Okay. So are you clear about this leading and lagging indicators? Could you understand that? Anamika, Prachi?
Yes, sir.
Vishaka, any example could you give?
You can find leading and lagging indicators in day-to-day life as well. For example,
Yes.
If I ask you what is your weight now, and you say 80, and then if it is more than what you should be, that is a lagging indicator, because you can right now do nothing over it. But if you say what has been your weight for the past 6 months, and you say that I was actually 100, today I'm 80, it's a very good leading indicator, which will suggest that since she has reduced from 100 to 80, in the next 6 months, she can be 70. You understand?
sir, one thing, it could be also like this, this is my weakness and this is my strength. The leading and the lagging indicators can be denoted like that as well.
No, weakness and strengths are again instantaneous, which is, which can be assessed in the moment. And therefore, I would not say that that can be put as a leading. Anything that shows the trend, will give the leading indicator. Right?
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
You have
Thank
to
you,
see
sir.
the trend of it, For example, if you look at the temperature of a particular city in the month of June over the last 10 years, and if you see there is a continuous raise of 1 degree every year, okay? So let's say the temperature in 2011 in June used to be maximum of 40 degrees. And in 2021 or 22 now in June, it's going to be, let's say, maximum 45 degrees. What is it? What does it indicate? It indicates that global warming is working out, and in the times to come, it is going to be much more difficult. If I keep you away from any data of the past and say that in June 2021, the temperature was 42 degrees, you cannot make any sense out of it. It's just a figure, right? So leading indicators are always looked at in terms of the trend that is there, with respect to that particular aspect.
Excuse me, sir, you said that you would not recommend labeling the employees in the organization as it would hamper their motivation. But can this be seen as, when there is labeling in the classroom, like this student is average or this person is topper, then it kind of, like the person gets to know where he actually stands, and this would help to improve upon himself instead of demotivating him.
Not all are that optimistic, miss, that you try it out, you tell you would have a group of friends, okay, and you say that you pick up one of your friend and tell that person that you're not as friendly as others are, and see what happens. It is very less likely that the person will take it as an improvement thing. Instead, and this happens in every organ, if you label a person good, because that good may not be, good from his point of view, the other person's point of view, right? The other person might feel that I am excellent and still I am being rated as good, and there will be a constant conflict in the person's mind. If he is assertive, he might discuss it out, but there are many people who are not assertive actually. They will not, try to bring it out in the open and talk about it just for the fear of losing an argument. Understand? So it is more important as a process in performance management. One should only try to help people achieve their target. Now you think for yourself. There are two options. I bring an employee in front of me, evaluate the performance. You are average this time. And the second situation is, I go through the employee's target. I see that he has not achieved, and then I talk about with him that Chal, how can you help? How can I help you so that you not to help you to achieve the target which you are lagging so far? Which would be a better situation? You think for yourself. Yeah, make sense? Hello,
Anamika.
Connectivity.
So she's saying she had some network connectivity problem.
That's okay.
Right.
Any other questions?
Akriti, anything?
Any other topic or any other topic related to PMS that you want me to express my ideas?
So largely about the process, how it is to be done or how it is being done at your industry. As a concept, definitely we discuss, but then in an industry, when we talk about implementation of these concepts, how are you dealing with it? And then as Srishti asked about the challenges, the post-implementation as an HR, what are the music that you have to face in the process?
One has to live with this fact that not everyone, which I would include all the senior management also, not everyone in the organization, okay, would be expert in setting goals, expert in cascading down the company to department to individual kind of goals. So there is going to be what you call imperfection on setting goals, imperfection on estimating the impact of that goals on the company's overall performance. These are the challenges that one has to work with. So that's the reason why, my experience is there can be no performance management which is absolutely objective in nature. Every performance appraisal would have an element of subjectivity, and we have to live with it. That is how I would like to answer your question.
Right. And how to do this when you're doing this, as you said that, okay, a goal has been decided. So how to convert that goal in KRA, KPI, and then assessment of it?
Okay, now I will, since you brought out this point of KRA and KPI, I want to also clarify these two concepts. Many people use KRAs and KPIs interchangeably.
Right.
Okay.
And there is another term which is being coined these days, OKR.
Sorry?
OKR is OKR, objective key result. That is the new term that is being used.
Keep bringing in jargon. Well, let me tell you one thing. Key result area. It's like, on which ground are you playing? Area is a ground on which you are playing. For example, for a marketing guy, the key result area would be customer base. The key result area would be profitability or rebate. The key result area would be customer complaint management. Now, within the customer base, my key, KPIs, key performance indicator would be that if my customer base increases from, let's say, 20 to 25. So earlier I used to have 20 customers. Now I am going to have 25 customers. That is the indicator of performance in the area of the customer base. So key result area is on which ground I am playing, and key performance indicator is in that ground. What is the kind of performance I am going to show? For example, a key result area for a human resource management guy would be employee satisfaction. That is my key result area. Now, there may be many key performance indicators in more than one key performance indicators in this area of customer employee satisfaction. One could be what is the satisfaction index. That is the employee satisfaction. The second could be the amount of goodwill that we are able to generate, through the welfare or other initiatives. So it can be satisfaction index, and in employee satisfaction, what else you are trying to do? Let's say we are trying to make sure that, okay, the employees doesn't have to think about anything than work. So I take care of the rest, which means the customer is satisfied from all the angles, and he or she only thinks about performance at work. That is something one should look at. Yeah.
So keeping this clear, yeah.
So are you saying that KPIs are mostly quantitative in nature?
Oh, yes, of course. Indicator means what? If it is not quantitative, or if it is not measurable, it doesn't indicate you anything, whether you need to improve or you are good at something. You understand?
So Anamika, if we have to set one KPI for recruitment, what could be that KPI? I mean, if you could understood from this discussion.
Recruitment, so it can be, I am expected, suppose I'm expected to recruit 35 people by the end of 2 months. So this 30, and what am after the end of second month, how many people did I exactly recruit? That is the indicator that how much that quantity.
Correct.
Right, fair enough. And what are these different processes that are being adapted when we talk about appraisal? There are various tools that are being used. The latest in this is, as we said, this balance scorecard, management by objective, 360 appraisal.
Okay. You said balance scorecard, 360, and one more. What did you say? Sorry.
Management by objective, from where this
Management by
entire
objective.
KPI, KRA concept came in.
Yeah. I think, let me explain. If you look at balance scorecard, is more of a strategy than it has anything to do with an appraisal. Balance scorecard looks at the 4 major dimensions of a company so that one does not lose out on one while catering to the other. So therefore it is called balanced. That while I am focusing on the finances of the company, I also need to take care of the customers. I also need to take care of the employees. And I also need to look at the internal efficiencies.
Processes, right.
So, in the internal processes. So balance scorecard is a strategy so that you take care of, you work holistically for an organization. It's a concept. Okay. Then if you look at 360-degree appraisal, it is more about helping. It's a more of a development tool than an appraisal tool, I would say. And it should be used as a development tool. It should not be used as a appraisal tool. So if in the 360-degree appraisals, if all the people around me rate me less, let's say, on various dimensions, then it's a good input for me to start taking improvement actions. It should not be used as an appraisal tool. देखिए सब लोग ने तेरे बारे में गलत बोला है तो तेरा increment इतना कम. It's not the right way actually, right? And management by objective is nothing but when you are saying setting goals, it is managing by setting objectives. That is it. So I would still use management by objective is a process and not an event, which is actually the appraisal. That is how it is.
And anything on the frequency of it, how appraisal is to be done, and
the appraisal should be done. There are many companies who even have quarterly appraisals. But then, it's like where the industry is very, very highly volatile, like, the IT industry where people keep changing jobs very frequently. They may have to keep raising the salaries, or rather providing them the share of the profits frequently so that they stick on with the company. But most of the time, or most of the organization would have annual appraisals, and that is, once in a year, and end of March or end of December, as the case may be, and give them a raise accordingly, right? And I would rather say that in the management process, the performance reviews should be at least 4 times a year, at least 4 times a year. 4 times in the sense that a person should at least get 3 months to do something about the goals he or she has set. So that, at the end of the 3 months, you just take a stock of, where the person is, so that we don't lose on something. If you look at the person's performance after 6 months, you already lost 6 months. The best thing would be meet every month and make sure that the person is achieving what he or she is supposed to achieve. And let review not be a very, very formal process. It can be an informal process where just have a departmental meeting or just over a coffee and check it out, what is happening, what needs to be done, what kind of help the person needs. I think that's the best way to do a performance review. In fact, there was a concept of individual development meeting also, IDMs, which you call. In IDMs, we identify, while evaluating the performance, we identify where the person is lacking, what kind of development needs the person is having. So in there is the KRS stands for key result activities. So for example, for a marketing guy, key result activity is interaction with the customer. So how can the person improve the interaction with the customer so that every time he visits the customer, he gets in some order or gets in some business. And this is the micro level of operation where you identify the key. For example, a telephone operator, the key result activity is making phone calls. Now, a telephone operator is actually the face of the company, and the way her conduct with the people outside will create an image of the company. So you can understand, even a front desk telephone operator has so much to contribute to the image of the company. So identifying that as a key result activity, you can hire somebody to just, you see these voice recordings in call centers and all that. Why is that for? Just to make sure that they are efficient in their key result activities, because those activities are going to bring the results for the company. So one should extend the concept of KRAs and KPIs and also add KRA in terms of key result activities. For example, if you look at a person in a costing department, and data analysis is a key result activity. So one should focus on how good the person is at analyzing data. If you can add to his competencies, I think the person will bring in more to the company.
Okay, so this brings another point for discussion, that in this entire performance management system, competencies, do they play any role?
So as I shared with you, in key result activities, you actually trying to look at the competency which are required for the job. Okay, so there are people who even identify the competencies. So I'll give an example. Not everyone in an organization would be able to set specific goals for themselves. For example, there are people, chemists in the shifts, they keep on coming one shift after the other. There is no individual performance, there is a collective performance. So they would not have their own individual targets. For them, what we define as behavioral anchors. So we define on a around 10 to 15 points. If a chemist is supposed to be a good chemist, what are the attributes? We write down those attributes, share with the chemist, this is what you will be evaluated against. And end of the year, we rate them on those 14 or 15 points, that what kind of display the person has made. For example, a key attribute for a shift chemist would be maintains operating parameters as per the log sheet. Has amicable relations with colleagues on the floor. Now, it is very easy to write down a score. He is up to the mark, not up to the mark, less than what is required, and then you can create an appraisal out of it for them. Any other question?
Sir, I got confused between key result areas and key result activities. So can you please explain it?
What is your basic qualification?
Currently, I'm 12th pass. I'm pursuing graduation.
Okay. So your confusion is between key result area and activity, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for you, your key result area is career. Agreed? And in career, your key performance indicator is how well you are able to score pursuing a particular course. You understood this? Okay. What is the key result activity which will ensure that you will achieve that kind of score?
Consistency.
Activity.
No, it is actions. These are the actions.
It could be reading. Okay. It could be net surfing. It could be going to the library and fetching the material. Okay. To be able to get a good score in a course, what all activities you need to do, and which will actually take you closer to your goal, are the key result activities. Got the point?
Sir, you can tell us about development center and assessment center.
See, I'll speak about assessment center first. I think these two terms are also changed. Assessment is only you assess, and development is you help the individual in development post-assessment. Is this clear first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in assessment center, we first, write down a detailed job description. Then we identify what kind of competencies this person is supposed to display. And for each competency, the competencies may be 10 or 15. For each competencies, we have a shade from the least required to the most requirement. So for any job, let's say for a human resource manager, one competency is knowledge about the products of the company. Now, when you talk of this, he doesn't need to be a leader in that. He needs to have the basic appreciation of the, knowledge of products of the company. But if you take another competency of, human relations skills, then he has to be an authority in that. Got it? So we write down all such competencies and identifies where this person has to fit in. Okay. And then there are tests developed. There can be in basket test and, group discussion, various kind of tests that are developed. Okay. And a person is rated against those tests by experts. And then finally an assessment is done that, okay, this person is up to the mark on these 5 competencies, but needs to improve on these 3 competencies. So where the improvement is there, the person is has to go through a counseling session. The behavioral analyst will talk to the person and explain that person. See, this is what we had a question about you. This is how you responded. And actually, this is the gap that we have found. So maybe you need to work in this area. So an assessment center followed by the counseling sessions and helping, hand-holding will result into a development center. Hardik.
Thank you, sir.
Hardik.
Ha, sir.
I have done some assessment center project. Maybe
Right.
I'll share it with you. You can share it with the students so that they understand what exactly it is. So you can remind me on Monday. I'll mail you my project.
For sure, sir. For sure.
Yeah.
So that will be, an input for them also to understand, because this is one area, assessment center and development center. When we listen about this, now we see some physical structures about it. That there is one area where you go and then they'll teach you, they'll develop you on certain things. But as you said, it is a concept. When you assess people and then based on their findings, there are different tools.
So I have taken two kind of jobs. One is head HR and one is head of safety, and
Okay.
identified various competencies where they should fall in, how they will be assessed, in which manner.
Okay.
Okay. So that project will help you understand exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, I've done a realistic kind of a assessment center. I've run through a realistic kind of an assessment center.
Okay.
Sir, please, you can tell us about the strategy of hiring the people in a company according to your experience.
So the strategy, firstly, is that one should, whenever you're doing a hiring, first of all, the person should match the job competency requirements in that particular job. So you have to be, now normally in interviews which last for 5 minutes to 20 minutes, it is very difficult to identify whether the person is competent or not. So you are actually playing a blind game. But the way you frame your questions can help you to be better in that sense. You can raise all the situation type of question, and how the person respond to the situation will make you understand, okay, fine, how much depth the person has and all. Okay. So this is one part of the strategic. If you talk of how to, strategy is how to of the recruitment. Okay. So when there are bulk recruitments, you can go through a newspaper ad and all that. There are one particular person required, you can go through a headhunter. You can tell the person, this is the kind of person I want. Maybe this is the industry from which I want this person, and the person will run around that guy, catch hold of him and bring him to the table. Okay. Am I answering your question? Or you need to know something else?
Oh, no, sir. This one. Thank you, sir.
Also, would you recommend the installation of ATS in the companies?
What is ATS? Sorry.
Automatic tracking systems. When we receive a number of resumes, so this particular system, it already has some prefixed keywords into it. So when the resumes are passed through it, we only get like very limited number of resumes. So would you recommend?
I would recommend when there are lots of recruitments to be done. But let's say for an industry like mine, we hardly recruit people because the people don't leave us. Okay. So these things don't are, kind of, and that's why I had to ask what is ATS, So this may not be required, but there are many IT companies who would use this, automatic tracking system. And when they have to handle bulk, 20,000, 30,000 resumes, that's where this will become very, very handy.
But do you think, sir, this would?
Yeah, Anamika, please go ahead.
So do you think this would discourage the candidates who are applying, because not everyone is 100% perfect? There are some, more highs and lows in every candidate. So just rejecting them because their resume does not have few keywords, would that discourage them?
It would be unfortunate, but these people also should understand that for large companies like this would go through an ATS, so they better take help from like Naukri.com and many other firms are now helping candidates to write their resumes. So you can take help from a professional, get your resume done, and make sure that you are scanned. Okay. Karthik, anything?
I may have many things to ask, but I'll just ask the students to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I have a question. When Hardik sir was teaching us performance management, he taught us about its evolution, and he taught it in different stages. In one stage, in 1970s, there was so many cases happening about criticism of handling performance appraisals regarding organizations, or the organization was using objectives to do the performance appraisal. So, sir, I want to understand what happened in that particular case. Means what was the bad thing, or what was the criticism part? I didn't get that.
I think that Hardik would be able to reply best what happened during that, because I haven't studied evaluation of performance management systems.
So, Srishti, we will speak on those areas maybe post this session. When we talk about the criticism, it is about that process at that time. Okay, like when we talk about any appraisal system as on today, there are certain areas which may not be very happy as feedback. Feedback is one area in appraisal process which always has a criticism about it, right? So every time whenever the system gets evolved from one step to another step, as we talk about balanced scorecard. So it is a strategical way to set your objectives and KRIs and KPIs, right? So this is how things evolve. So we discuss about those criticism maybe post this session or sometime in coming days.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yes, sir. Also, when I was working as a recruiter, when the posting was for some other position, the job posting, but I received a lot of resumes which were not even relevant to the position which was open. So other than using ATS for this purpose, is there any other method of eliminating these people beforehand?
There are two ways. Beforehand, how would you know that whether they are willing to work in that particular location or not? Okay, so what you can do perhaps is when they mail you the resume, they should write in the subject is that I am willing to work in this location. You should tell them, okay, if you're interested in the job, please mention in the subject that I am applying for this location. So what will happen is, if a person, even if that person doesn't want to work in the location and he has still written that, okay, most of them will not do that, who are serious. But there's some people still, want to try their luck out. So you can say that, okay, fine, since you have written, therefore I am calling on you. and the बोले मुझे इस location में काम नहीं करना है, तो बिल्कुल लिखा क्यों? So you'll waste a lesser time over there, okay, instead of just asking for resumes. Second thing that you can do is you should, without mentioning anything, you should write, tell them that when you mail your resume, please mention your current location in the subject. Okay, so anything which is, let's say, beyond 200 kilometers from your location is going to be difficult. So you can eliminate them upfront. Anybody who is closer to your location are more likely to come and work there, isn't it?
So also with context to the position, like I am supposed posting for some accountant or something like that, and there is this person applying if she's a teacher and she's applying for the same position, then how can we segregate these two?
See, many a times what we do is, there are people who still try, as I said, try their luck out, that the person is a teacher and she doesn't want to still continue with teaching. And she wants to try her luck because she would be a BCom or something, and she wants to get into accountancy. The simplest thing is, do not reject them upfront. Once they apply to you, take them through a test of, which will clarify whether they are clear of their concepts or not. And if they fail in the concept, you can reject them. Like what we did was, we in one of the examples, we needed a management analyst. Okay, so there were, when we advertised it, many people started applying, and it was very difficult for us to judge. Then what we did, we sent a few Excel sheets with data and told them that you go through this Excel sheet and tell us what sense you make out of it. So when they revert, we get to know कि इस बंदे में कितना depth है भी नहीं, right? So that's the exercise you might like to do.
Also, sir, what are your views on Boolean search method?
I'm not too much accustomed to it. Sorry. Are there only 2 or 3 students in your team or what?
No, there are many.
And that's what I was wondering. Only 3 people have lots of questions, but not the rest. Anyways.
Okay. If you can elaborate more on 360 degree appraisal, though you said it is more on the feedback part, who all can be the stakeholders in 360 appraisal? If you are appraising me as a subordinate and you are choosing 360 degree as a method, to whom would you pick to get that?
Everyone who is above you, below you, and at your peers, with whom you interact a lot. Okay, so let's say if I have to give a 360 degree feedback to you, I would ask your boss a set of questions. I would ask people who interact with you at your same level a set of questions. And also I would like to ask, your subordinates a different set of questions, because for everyone it matters differently. Correct?
Right. And these are subjective or objective?
This is subjective.
This is objective. Okay.
Objective. At the most, it can be made, objective in the sense by giving them multiple choice options. But there are questions like, for example, to your boss, if I were to ask, how much understanding Hardik displays in terms of what you expect out of him is a question.
Okay.
It can be put into yes, very much, not so much, less than average, whatever, some kind of 4-point questions, and then you tick it off. Okay. So for your boss, I would ask this. For your subordinates, I can ask a question like, how helpful he is in helping you to achieve your goals. Peers, I would say, how much collaboration do you see Hardik displaying with respect to your function? Now, there can be many questions like this. For a marketing guy, I would like to even go to his customer.
Correct. I was about to ask that external stakeholders can also be a part of
Yes,
360 feedback.
they should be. Because finally, we are concerned with the person improving, and everybody and anybody who is frequently interacting. It could be even government officials with the person, whom they interact. It can be a very important feedback. Just because of the person's ego, okay, you're not getting the requisite support from the government authorities. So it can become a very important feedback.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sir, so 360 feedback usually don't you the organization usually don't use for all the employees, right? Because it's a very hard work to do, or it's a lot of to do in the 360 work, 360 degree assessment.
Now let us put it differently. Organization would have a list of people who are very critical to the organization, and they want that these people cannot make mistakes, these people cannot go beyond, rather these are the important people who need to be, working in a particular level. So we select those people, and we only create 360 degree feedback around those people. And generally, these people are range from middle management to senior management, but not below.
Okay, sir.
Correct. Means you cannot go for the entire population.
No. It would be a waste of time. Right. Let's say who all the vertical head, finance head is a very important person. So we need to make sure that the person that we have at taking that position is the right person. So 360 degree feedback can be very useful in that context.
And should this be an informed process or uninformed process? Means if you are taking a 360 feedback of mine or a finance head, you will tell him that you are, you are undertaking this particular process, or you will do it anonymously.
Yes and no. I'll tell you why no. Many a times that if the organization has a political tinge, okay. So if I tell that Hardik, I am going to take your 360 feedback, next hour you will have a meeting with your subordinates, and you will tell them that the boss here acha feedback dena, you had your time. Okay. So this is unfortunately the case in India mostly, because we are not that assertive people. So at times, you should take I would propose always that it should be informed, but many a time we need to also go the other way around.
Okay. So it has to be assertive. We need to tell people and then conduct this 360 feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. And anything on competency and skill metrics? Any tools available, or we go it subjectively? How do we do this? As we talk about appraisal,
there is a lot of material and books available on competencies, actually.
True.
So it would be good because somebody has done a lot of hard work. I think I remember a book on competency by Weber, W-E-B-E-R. I somehow found that book to be the best, actually. Okay. But I would not, go entirely by the books, because there are certain jobs where the books would not say anything about. You're likely to get carried away by the definitions of the book and land into wrong areas. So many times it is very important that you pick hold of experienced people in that field and talk with them and ask them, what kind of competencies are required to be successful in this particular job. And whatever we hear from them, I think will make better sense than, getting through the books.
Right. Yes, Prachi, Bushra, Akriti, Ruchi, Darshan.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Anamika.
Sir, do you think performance appraisal it should be a necessity for all the companies to inculcate into themselves? Because there are MNCs like Deloitte and Accenture who are, trying to get rid of this whole system.
See, as I shared with you, that a company that is able to define that what kind of slabs, salary slabs, they are able to define very clearly the salary slab, they need not have a performance appraisal system. But let's say in India, in the Western world, there are many companies who there is nothing like annual increments. But in India, it's a pandemic actually. It's like whether the company performs or not, an employee wants a raise at the end of the year. Okay, so in which case you need to appraise, because at least you would want to give more money to the person who has contributed for the company rather than everyone. So performance appraisals are a must, where you don't have fixed salary slabs, where you have to give some kind of annual raise. So you need to appraise them, so that the right people will get better rewards. And I agree with you. For example, Deloitte, as you said, they know the fresh auditors are in the salary bands of some, let's say 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, whatever. They hire them. After a few years, there is an agreement. Okay, this is how you will raise your salary many a times. So there is no need of any performance appraisal. But still, even they would have performance appraisal, because let's say you agreed the terms that every year or maybe every 3 years will give you a salary raise of 20%, let's say. But in 3 years, if the person has done bad, you would still question whether to give that 20% or not, or just fire him and get another person. So appraisal, whether we say it or not, we anyway evaluate people. We evaluate people in relationships also. So appraisal is something which is kind of, in blood.
So appraisal is all about rating the people, and but you're with the performance appraisal for rating the people, but you're against labeling them. So how does it make any
Labeling
difference?
them during the year. Labeling them during the year. For example, let's say if you, in the first review after 3 months, you say, okay, fine, in 3 years, 3 months, I see your performance not so challenging, not so appreciable, so I would like to rate you average. This is what I object. During the year, one has to just help the person to perform. That's it. End of the year, I would still say, don't label them. You are excellent. You are very good. No. We just say, based on your performance, we are giving you an increment of X amount. That's it, period. Because, you see, here there is some kind of human psychology here. When you label a person as something, either the person will, get his, what you say, either his ego will be, pampered, or the other way around, he will be hurt. So this is what we do. We don't say that you have been given this rating. We just say, based on your performance, okay, you are getting an increment of so much and then a cash award of so much, period.
So
क्योंकि हम लोग कंपेयर भी बहुत करते हैं, हाँ, हम लोग कंपेयर भी बहुत कर रहे हैं. एक एम्प्लॉय बोलेगा यार उसने ऐसा क्या कर दिया, उसको एक्सेलेंट रेटिंग दे दी. But when figures are given, nobody really understands, what. And one of the very important things is, in India, people get upset by what others have got and not by, they don't understand, appreciate what they have got. They may be rated excellent, but another guy who he feels is a very average guy is rated very good, he'll still feel bad about it. So we, don't manage our own business. We want to manage others' business as well. That's the problem. So we have to find our own ways, actually. Yeah. Tell me.
But that is, I think, a good practice to compare yourself with others to help yourself improve.
That's what I said. If a person is that optimistic, fine. But you tell me, how many people you find that optimistic? You tell somebody you are not doing good, the person will immediately feel that, how can you say I'm not doing good? I have done so much. So not all are, take criticism in a constructive way. And that is the concern I am raising.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, sir. So my question is that is PMS is necessary for a new organization? As we have discussed already that PMS is very necessary for an organization. But don't you think that a new institution or organization will take it as a secondary thing?
PMS is even more necessary for a new organization because it is, it is wanting to, go ahead with a very strong foothold. You understand? PMS, I'm saying, forget about appraisal. You want the persons of a new organization to perform, isn't it? Then only that organization will, take a flight. So PMS is even more important for a new organization.
Sir, when there is a new organization, people generally take good candidates, select good candidates. So maybe they may not need performance management system initially.
See, why would any organization take bad candidates? New organization take good candidate. Old organization want even more good candidates, right? So when I say performance management, I mean that in a new organization, it is very important that the bosses sit with their team and make sure that they perform the way they are expected to perform. In the initial phase only, if people take it lightly, they don't perform the way they should perform, then it can, for a new organization can create a big setback. That is my concern. Right?
Sir, what are the probabilities of what are the ratio of having performance management and performance appraisal both in organization and having only performance management in today's life?
There are organizations that may not have performance management, but they will surely have performance appraisal.
Okay, so there are more chances of performance appraisal than management.
They have to have, because if they want to give increments, on what basis they will give an increment. So whether the process may be objective or subjective, they will have appraisals. Okay, whether these appraisals are put in open or not open, they do it secretly, I don't care. They have a system, the owners will have a system of evaluating people. They will evaluate and they will appropriately give the raises. But organizations may not have a very structured performance management system. That is a possibility.
Okay, sir. Sir,
go ahead.
Yes, sir. One last thing. You talked about 360-degree performance appraisal. Assessment. So in that, you said usually it happens like employee, he take it as a development, like it is a chance for him to develop itself, but not all the time it happens, like they sometimes take it negatively. So can you give us some examples of that, like what happens when they take negatively and how it impact its performance or on organization?
See, employees who take negatively, okay, see, organization that do say 360-degree feedback has also takes care, in terms of when an employee takes it negatively, it is even more bad for the employee. You understand? Which means that the employee is not willing to consider what is being said about him, okay, and wants to go the other way around, then therefore is not the right candidate for the organization. When everyone around you expresses that you're not fit to be in that position, the organization will have to take a stronger stand on those lines. People who take it negatively would not have a place in that organization, ultimately.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So thanks, Anu sir, for your presence and
Thank you.
sharing on all these areas. Before we say formal thank you, I have one question on behalf of all of them, and that is, yes, gone. Yeah, Busha, your question?
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah,
you
very
are.
much.
Sir, I wanted to ask what measures what measures could an organization take to improve PMS? If the
The
results
question-
are not that good, what measures can an organization take?
The question is not very clear in terms of, what would go wrong with PMS? Tell me that.
Sir,
See, to be able to implement the PMS properly, we need that, there is a relationship developed between the employee and the supervisor. So that may go wrong. So we can have, clarificatory or training sessions for the supervisors, how to deal with the subordinates, how to do the performance appraisals. And there also has to be some feedback from the subordinate, whether that the performance appraisals or the performance management is being done in a very fair manner, in a very helping manner. So we have to identify that what is at the root of performance management. The root of the performance management is the interaction of the employee with the supervisor, right? So that is one thing that we need to look at, whether that is being happening correctly or not. In one of the organization, my role was to sit when the employee and the supervisor are doing the performance management. I have to be a silent observer. And if something goes wrong, I was supposed to rectify that in a very, very constructive way. Right? Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Bushra, this is what you are asking. Maybe.
Yeah, Hardik, I
Yes,
think we
sir.
should now conclude because
Yes, sure. I'll not take much time.
I can come
Okay.
again some other day, but
For sure. I'll bother you. Thanks for your time. Okay. And then there's one question which I was, asking before we said a formal thanks to you. Some of the key result areas for HR people. Now, when they go for their own self-assessment, what are the areas which they should keep as a key result areas around which they can find out their own KPIs? So that is one.
The various key result area I can share. Internal customer orientedness is one area. Okay. Employee satisfaction is another area. Okay. Statutory compliance is another area. Then just to go a bit higher, the degree of collaboration in the organization could be another area. Or to be very straightforward, how much is octa pace? You know about PV Rao's term.
Correct.
Openness, confrontation, authenticity, trust. Then there is what this other A stands for. P stands octa, and then P stands for I forgot that. OCTA, authenticity, performance, collaboration, and experimenting. That's how it is. So it can be that area whether how much we are able to, create that kind of environment, which could be an idea of the HR function, which could be a role of the HR function. So these are the few areas where one can look at.
Fine. So the assignment for all of them can be what could be the KPIs around these areas.
Yeah.
So there are certain areas which Sir has said. Okay. And then what could be the performance indicators, leading and lagging, leading and lagging around these KRAs. Right?
KRAs, within the KRAs, yeah.
In the KRAs. So thank you so much, Anirudh sir, for your time.
Pleasure.
Though you were not keeping well, as you said.
I feel better. I feel better after this session today.
I'm sure the students also do feel so.
Yeah.
So we'll bother you some other time again.
Sure.
This is entire course on HR. So maybe on some other topic, some other time.
Sure.
When we talk about business ethics and other areas, we will seek your feedback and inputs on this. So thank you so much. Can we all have our camera on so I can we can capture Or can someone do it for me? The gallery view. Bushra, can we have the camera on? Thank you. So I captured. Bushra का आधा फोटो है का चश्मा लगा देते हैं. Okay. Thank you, Anuj sir, for your time.
Pleasure.
And we'll connect. Anyone else has to say something to sir before he says
Thank you
bye?
so much, sir, for coming and enlightening us, enlightening all of us with your knowledge. And we would love to listen to you further in future. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir. It will be a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your precious time and
Thank you.
being able to hear to make it
Pleasure.
understand us.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Thank you. Okay, Hardik, do I leave?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you. Ruchi ma'am, you can
Can you
keep it
please-
off if it is not comfortable for you, right? No worries. Yeah.
So can you please repeat the assignment?
Which assignment?
So you just
Yes.
It is all those KRAs which sir has said, there are key result areas for human resource. Many areas he said. He also used a term octapace. Do research around it. Octopus suna hai na? So there is one abbreviation, octapace. Do research on it. And then what can be the KPIs around those key result areas? Matlab, employee satisfaction. If this is a key result area, what will be the indicator to measure this? Could you understand? I am
So
head
can
HR.
you-
I am head HR of a plant. Okay. And I want every employee of my organization should be a satisfied employee. So employee satisfaction becomes my key result area. Right. Now, how will I assess? There are two aspects of this. One is, how will I assess whether all these employees are satisfied? So to know that assessment, I need to have some indicator. So one indicator will be, what is the satisfaction index? How many employees in my organization are, very happy? So the KPI can be, when I set the objective for the year, it can be 95% of the employees should fall in the satisfaction range of 95% to 100% or very happy. So that becomes the KPI. That becomes an objective for which I'll strive. You understood?
Yes, sir.
Everyone? What could be another indicator to measure and assess this employee satisfaction?
Sir, survey.
Survey, correct. So survey will be a method or it will be a tool. Employee satisfaction survey. So I'll conduct employee satisfaction survey twice a year. Okay, for
Yes.
100% of the employees.
Yes.
So that can be an objective to assess, that yes, my satisfaction level or satisfaction index is this much. I'm doing it twice because I can do it, any corrective measures. If half yearly my results are not very good, they are around 50% of satisfaction level, you will understand that what are the areas where people are not satisfied. Right? And then you put up objectives around that, so that when you do the another survey, end of the year, you have a comparative things that, okay, yes, this has been improved or it have come down, whatever it is. All right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this KR and KPI we will see in the coming session, so that we also know how to write. There was one statement which he has made. It is important to articulate. It is important to articulate. Articulate means how well can I frame my objective? And the challenge in the organization as far as appraisal is concerned, everybody would be performing. Everybody would be giving their 100%. But fortunately or unfortunately, they are not able to put it on paper, put it across. Okay, then someone has to help them. So we, being in HR, at least we must be very thorough when we articulate our things. And it will be for everything. You put up a proposal to management, because HR always put proposals which are on expense side. It's always a cost center. It is not a profit center. Profits are intangible. You have to tell them that, boss, because of these things, this is how things have improved, which has these benefits to the organization. You will say that I'll hire a placement consultant to recruit people. They'll say, no, it's a cost. Right? But end of the year, when you say that was 4 people hired from this consultancy have their performance rating at the time of interview 4, and now it is 4.5. Compared to what we had, they were 4 when we interviewed, now they are 2.5. Right? So that is about the expertise about the process, expertise about hiring things or anything. So they are more intangible, and then we need to, make it understand alternatively that this is how it is impacting or affecting. There was one joke I read somewhere that once a CFO asked the CEO that, boss, we spent so much amount to train these employees. What if they go? And then the CEO said, what if they don't go? So if you're not training people, if you're not making them capable, if you're not investing on their capability building, they'll become a liability to the organization and they'll not go anywhere. Right? But if you build them, if you have their capability buildings, by the time they go, they will add value to the organizations. That is how we understand or read between the lines, that this is how it is. So the assignment will be around this. You can identify which are the other key areas other than what Sir has said. In the initial sessions, we discussed various areas of human resource management. So from that areas, you can pick up what are the key result areas and what can be the KPIs and how will you measure it. So in last session, I had shared one format, if you remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the scale. Correct. So what can be, if it is not performing, what can be the excellent performing? How will you distribute among that band? Right. Just try to figure out and try to write all the KRAs, their indicators and measurement criteria. Right. Make it as objective as possible. So that will give you the clarity on HR functions and the measurables of HR.
Okay, sir.
When we talk about employee satisfaction, employee attrition can be an indicator. How many employees left because they were not happy with you? No, the attrition of people, turnaround, logo ka chhod ke jana, that can be one of the indicator that will tell you that your organization is not doing good. Too frequent, too many. There can be some reasons. It's not that the organization is not doing good, but there are certain factors. Right? So this way, just try to find out what could be the KPIs on various HR key result areas. So there is one area, then there are tasks associated with that area. And then for that task, how will you measure it? So training is a function, training is an area. In training, we have 4 or 5 activities to be done. है ना, हमको पता करना पड़ेगा किसको क्या सिखाना है, कौन सिखाएगा, कितना सिखाना है, सीखा कि नहीं. So that सीखा कि नहीं becomes your indicator to assess. ये जो 3-4 चीज बोला, that becomes your key result activities. That finding training needs, finding resources, deciding on how many topics to be covered in a year, they becomes your task. Then effectiveness assessment, that becomes the task. And then we say that if someone has scored 100% marks on effectiveness, he is excellent. That becomes a indicator, right? So just try to articulate this entire thing for key result areas. Just see if 4 or 5 key result areas of HR you can have, and then a complete articulation of it. Okay, maybe a single slide or single Excel sheet would help to do this. And we can have a quick discussion around it too. How much time will you need for this?
So for proper analysis and then, I mean, like identifying all the areas, so we need 1 week. So.
Okay. So next Saturday?
Okay, sir.
Done. Okay. So this is the assignment for next Saturday, right? And please communicate this to all those members who are, missing as of now. I'll request Anamika if you can put up it on the group as well, so that all those who are not present as of now, they will also have this information with them, that what we are supposed to do next week. Okay. Now, can we quickly refer what we are supposed to do today about those biases? Any example on those biases? So each one of you can give 1 or 2 examples on any one bias, so that we can cover all the biases with examples.
Okay, sir. If we talk about spillover effect, in spillover, it talks about the past evaluate present performance by the past performance. Okay, so take it as if take it as like a terrorist, okay, or a wanted person. If there is any wrong thing or kind of danga agar kisi ek specific area mein ho raha hai, to that wanted person will be questioned first, that wanted person will be questioned first, you were the one in that previous event, so there are so many possibilities you will be involved in this. So this assessment will be biased by his past experience. There are so many chances that that person must be not involved in the present that scene or danga or anything like that. So that's.
Isn't it a hollow effect, or maybe a horn effect, or some other perception? Spillover says that your current performance is assessed on the past performance. तो उसने अगर कहीं दंगा किया है, पकड़ के ला रहे असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं तो अलग बात, बट कहीं दंगा हुआ, इसको उठा के ले गए, then it is not spillover. Spillover is you are not doing good today, but you did excellent previously, therefore you have a leverage. I don't know if you follow cricket, a bit of it, or politics, movies, anything. So any superstar, for certain movies, although his performance is not good, he does not lose the stardom. है ना? सदी का महानायक अमिताभ बच्चन, तो he went to very bad phase. So he acted in Suryavansham, he acted in Mrityuda, I mean, एकदम रद्दी movies. But still, though people criticized it, but his stardom was assessed based on his previous performances. So you are good at studies throughout your all semesters. है ना? In all, you have 6 semesters. All 5 semesters you had been excellent. 6 semesters somehow you're not doing that good, right? And then if someone is assessing you, if you're the same invigilator who is assessing you all these 5 semesters, and you know that yes, you had been a bright student, you had always performed well all these semesters, somehow for this semester you say, yes sir, mera tabiyat theek nahi tha, na ghar mein ye issue ho gaya, na wo issue ho gaya, and you know he'll believe you, and then he'll give you comparatively good marks, though you have not written all answers properly. Still, नहीं यार अच्छा बच्चा है, पिछली बार हफ्ता अच्छा किया था, तो चलो बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट. दैट इज स्पिल ओवर. वो कहीं दंगा किया, किसी को उठा के ले गए, दैट वाज हॉर्न इफेक्ट.
No, I meant specific situation, specific location. By that I meant specific.
अच्छा, वहीं दंगा हुआ, वहीं उसको पकड़ा. No, in that case, it has to be okay. It can be a performance assessment. That yes, पिछली बार 10 ही मरे थे, इस बार कम मरे हैं. Then still you will put a charge of 10 आदमी मारे हैं spill over, क्योंकि उसका बैकग्राउंड ऐसा है, वो खतरनाक आदमी है, तो you don't want to cut loose on him, है ना? So then you have a heavy charges. Your example is not totally bad, wrong, but we have to just put it in the context. So when we say spillover, it is your past performance which helps you, to go through your current phase. If we talk about cricket, I don't know if you follow Cheteshwar Pujara for that matter. In current situation, he worked well. He played very well. Okay, but still now he's not performing. पिछले 2 साल से कुछ नहीं किया. He's not doing well. He's not scoring runs. Still, team is carrying him, assuming and considering that yes, he is technically very sound. He has the potential to do it. For certain reasons, he is not able to perform. So let us give him some chances. Right. So that is how the spillover can be understood.
So basically, spillover is a kind of positive. Like we still give that person kind of chance. So there's a positivity in that.
It's a benefit of doubt. Yes. That his past performance was very good. So now today when I'm assessing it, I'm not seeing it in this area, in this time. But yes, since he was doing good, he will do good. Or he does good always. Whether he is doing or not, I'm not very much, assessing that. And the reverse of it is recency. Prachi, any example of recency effect?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
I have written it. Wait a second. Yes, sir. So, in recency effect, rating is influenced by most recent behavior, ignoring the commonly demonstrated behavior. And the example I have given is my father has cancelled my pocket money of this month because of my misbehavior with my mom. So I just connected it with real life example. based exam.
True. Very much correct and very much to that particular point. Recency effect means अभी हाल फिलहाल में आपने कैसा काम किया उसके ऊपर मैं आपको एसेस कर रहा हूँ. You were not performing for past 2 years. Suddenly in last match you scored century. I'll continue. I'll start appraising. Oh, he's an extraordinary player. I forget all those, good things or bad things of yours, which you did in the past. You had been very sober, very gentle with your mom for all these years. But since yesterday, you did not, speak with her properly. So I punish you. Or I assess you. It's not punish, I assess you that way. So this is recency. Spill, good performance in the past. Recency, good performance in the recent time. है ना? So that is a bias. तो उस टाइम पे 99 अच्छे काम किए उसका खुद ने एक गलत काम कर दिया उसके लिए इतनी बड़ी सजा. This is recency. सजा या इनाम, whatever it is. 99 गलती की माफ कर दिया और एक गलती में एक अच्छा काम कर दिया तो बड़ा आदमी हो गया. Recency. 99 अच्छे काम किए 100वां गलत हो गया लेकिन कोई नहीं हो सकता, चलता है. 19 अच्छा किया ना, जाने दो. Spill over. Right? Okay. So Anamika on hollow and horn. Devi ji. आपका स्वर हम तक नहीं पहुंच रहा है. ओके, आकृति.
Yes, sir. Sir, in hollow and horn effect, we overshadow the other traits and focus on only one. In hollow, we focus on the positive, and in horn, we focus on negative. So, if in an employee or in our school or colleges, if one student is very outspoken or extrovert type and express he or she can express his thought very well, then the teacher can give them the more marks. But if the introvert person which cannot share his thought very well, so if the manager or the teacher
Yes, Akriti.
yes, sir, means overshadowing the trait and marking the outspoken person well or rating them well.
Okay. So what do you mean to say is that if in a class someone is outspoken, someone is extrovert, someone blabs a lot, so whether he performs well or not, we assume that he is a good performer. Yeah, that is what you mean to say.
If he or she is expressing his thought well in front of the supervisor.
Okay. So in appraisal process, he would be rated better.
Yes, sir.
That is what you are saying. Okay. And this is called hollow effect.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not bad. So it is about making a perception for an individual when you are doing an assessment about it. Okay. So generally हमको लगता है ना आदमी बहुत बोलता है, बहुत enthusiastic है, बहुत क्लास में उछल कूद कर रहा है, तो ये होशियार बच्चा ही है. That is hollow effect. है ना? If you're not speaking, you sit on the last bench, you don't participate in events, you don't answer the teachers immediately. It is assumed that whenever the assessment will be done, isko aise hi maan. People, the teacher may not be interested to read the entire answer paper, but superficially she can give certain marks, right? These are horn effect. Right, Akriti? So what you said is correct. Okay, as I said, that articulation is important. So when we explain, it is in terms of appraisal, right? Okay. So Anamika has a presentation to share with us. Yes, Anamika. अच्छा बोलना भी पड़ेगा हाँ अनामिका खाली ये दिखाने से नहीं हो
सर आई थिंक शेयर कर रही है वो इसलिए उसका ऑडियो नहीं आएगा वो ऐसा कहना चाह रही है शायद
ओके तो कोई और शेयर कर सकता है क्या या कोई और समझा सकता है क्या और वो हाँ ना बोले कि हाँ यही मतलब था
सर आई कैन शेयर
यू शेयर शी विल एक्सप्लेन
yes sir I can do that or I can just read out the example as well
yeah whatever is comfortable
Anamika tell me what you want to do second one okay so first impression the example is Anamika uses person X judges Mr. Modi by his attire of a kurta and pajama thinking him not to be skilled or knowledgeable and even backward because of his dressing sense then such a bias is a first impression bias now no matter how much knowledgeable Mr. Modi is person X can never change his impression about Modi this gets stick to person X mind yes अर्थात तो सर ये हुआ कि जो पर्सन एक्स है वो मोदी जी के बारे में एक अपना इम्प्रेशन रखा हुआ है कि वो अगर पजामा और कुर्ता पहनते हैं तो वो एक पुराने सोच के हैं या जो भी उस पर्सन एक्स का थिंकिंग है और उसको ही ध्यान में रख कर कि वो कभी भी मोदी जी को या किसी भी इंसान को हम बस वो नाम का नहीं यूज किया है इसलिए उनको जज करेगा instead of their knowledge that person will judge them by his or her dress
correct so when we see someone for the first time how he behaved how he acted upon okay that will last in our mind for a long time okay that is what the first impression is if someone who does not know who he is and if he goes only by attire perhaps he may outrightly reject him as a leader of the state correct so that can be the first impression which may change may not change that may sustain may not sustain it again depends about the conviction of an individual however what you said is correct that when you see someone for the first time you make one image you make one perception about an individual on his behavior right so that is first impression okay next
okay sir the next one is halo effect the example she uses the person Y comes across a boy's profile while surfing on matrimony site By looking at the profile, which was very impressive, although it had a few fraud red ticks, the girl Y thinks that the boy is very decent and can move further with the conversation, completely ignoring the frauds alert. Yes, that is a very good example as well.
उसके पहले और उसके बाद के एग्जांपल अच्छे नहीं है सर.
No, sir. The first one was good as well. I'm just seeing how articulated or well-defined these are.
Correct. So here, what makes it is hollow effect?
So you're asking me?
I'm asking. I don't know who will answer.
Oh.
What makes it in hollow effect?
Sir, the guy's impression on the girl, like good looking or whatever she think or she saw in that profile, that is.
Who is the appraiser? Person Y or person X, the girl or boy, who is appraiser? So the question is open for anybody. Everybody can answer.
Girl, sir, because
girl is appraiser.
Yes, sir.
And boy is an appraisee.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who will have this effect? Appraiser or appraisee?
Appraiser, the girl.
Appraiser. Right. All these effects which you are talking about or judgmental bias are with appraiser and not appraisee. The one who is appraising will have or can have all these different biases, right? Okay, so I think he is an extraordinary boy. So though there are certain areas where have been marked that, okay, please be aware of it, I ignore and I'll see the overall things and I appreciate. That is hollow effect. Okay, next.
Next one is the horn effect. The example is when a student is not dressed up properly in the class, it is usually assumed by the teacher that the student is very indisciplined and not punctual. No matter if that student is actually a bright student and is capable of taking up challenges, still teachers see only the negative side of his and decide to allot her less marks than he actually deserves.
Correct. Fantastic. So as I said that she may not read the entire answer sheet and will assume that ये तो क्या है इसकी हालत देखो ना ये पढ़ता ही नहीं होगा है ना इसमें तो क्या ही लिखा होगा till he challenges कि मैम इतना कम मार्क दे रहा पढ़ो तो सही वही लिखा है जो किताब में लिखा है डिट्टो right. So horn effect is again on the negative side of an individual. That appraiser will carry that, okay, because of XYZ factors, he is not a good performer. Or though the scale looks very high, उसने जरूर कुछ गड़बड़ किया होगा. तो अगर मार्क्स अच्छे भी आ गए तो उसके दिमाग में आएगा इसने कहीं से चिट बनाया होगा, है ना, कॉपी किया होगा, नकल की होगी, इसलिए इतना अच्छा मार्क्स आ गया. So that is horn effect. Okay, next.
The next one is spillover effect. And the example she uses, when a teacher is encountering that a backbencher is the topper of the class, she or he intentionally reduces his overall marks obtained because they think that the backbencher must have cheated. This is because the teacher is evaluating him or her on the basis of his past performance.
No, here this again will classify in hollow or horn category. As we discussed, spill is about how I have performed so far. If it is very good, if it is very bad, accordingly my current performance is assessed. Okay, just by sitting on the backbencher can have a hollow or horn effect. So it can be more on the hollow or horn side, that he is not, disciplined, ढंग से कपड़ा नहीं पहनता, ढंग से बात नहीं करता, क्लास में रोज आता नहीं है. How he can score so much? Definitely he would have cheated, right? So this would go in horn category. Spill, as I said, that yes, I have done fairly good, or I had been fairly poor for all this while. So this current performance, whether it is good or bad, compared to my previous performances, is appraised. Right? So that will be spillover. उस इलाके में हमेशा दंगे होते हैं, यही आदमी दंगा कराता है. इस बार दंगा हुआ, इसने नहीं कराया, बट पुराने रिकॉर्ड देख के इसको पहले पकड़ेंगे. Unless it has been proved that no, he is not the person who was, involved in this. So the appraisal will go this way only. तो जब भी कोई बड़ा काम होता है अपने एरिया में, तो जो बदमाश उनको पहले उठा के अंदर डाल देते हैं, है ना? So that is spillover effect. क्लास में कुछ भी हो बदमाशी, एक ही बंदे को पकड़ते हैं, इसी ने किया होगा, वो बेचारा शांत, कुछ नहीं किया उसने. स्पिल ओवर, क्योंकि पिछली बार हर बार जब भी क्लास में शैतानी हुई वो उसी का नाम आया, तो इस बार किया किसी ने, वो पहले उसको ही पकड़ेंगे. स्पिल ओवर.
Sir, can I give an example on it?
Of course, yes.
Sir, if there is an employee, she have not done anything in last months, but she received a lot of recognition in the last 2 months, but the manager, if the manager focuses on the past and don't give her the rating, then it is a spillover effect.
Then it is recency. अगर पिछले 1 महीने उसने अच्छा काम नहीं किया, 2 महीने अच्छा काम किया था, तो अच्छे काम के लिए अच्छा रिजल्ट मिला, स्पिल ओवर. 2 महीने अच्छा काम किया था, पिछले महीने अच्छा काम नहीं किया, उसको नेगेटिव रिजल्ट मिला, रिसेंसी. Am I making sense and are you understanding it?
Sir, a spillover effect is
क्या है उसका? What is the definition of spillover?
focused on past behavior.
Correct. Focus on past behaviors. What is recency?
Recency, what is she or he doing in present?
Correct. So when you say past is historical.
Yes, sir.
It's not immediate past. It is historical. Recency is immediate. अभी क्या कर रहे हैं? अभी कल परसों क्या किया था? घर में एक बच्चा शैतान है, एक बच्चा शैतान है, एक सीधा साधा बच्चा है. शैतान बच्चा हमेशा तोड़फोड़ करता है. गलती से घर में कोई सामान टूट गया और होशियार बच्चे ने तोड़ा, जो शांत है ना? करेक्ट. क्या होगा? स्पिल ओवर होगा. वो पार वही खाएगा, छोटा वाला जो हमेशा तोड़फोड़ करता है. उसने नहीं तोड़ा है फिर भी. इट इज स्पिल ओवर. पास्ट परफॉर्मेंसेस will have the bias on current appraisal.
Sir, वही जो मतलब वो एम्प्लॉय पास्ट में अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर रही थी, पर 2 महीने में अच्छा की, बट मैनेजर पास्ट परफॉर्मेंस के हिसाब से अगर रेटिंग दे, ये 2 महीने वाला छोड़ के,
वो करेक्ट है. वो करेक्ट. अगर पास्ट परफॉर्मेंस हिसाब से दे रहा है वो करेक्ट है. इफ इट इज अदर वे राउंड, सी व्हेन द बायस कम्स व्हेन यू गो अदर देन नॉर्मल प्रोसेस. 12 महीने का रिजल्ट लिया आपने, 12 महीने में से 10 महीने अच्छा काम किया, 2 महीने खराब काम किया, उस 2 महीने को आप इग्नोर कर देते हैं, स्पिल ओवर. उस 2 महीने को कंसिडर करते हैं रिसेंसी. बट व्हेन यू पुट टुगेदर ऑल 12 months and you see the overall performance, this is the benchmark, this is how it should be done, and these 2 months plus or minus is because of XYZ factor which are okay, valid. And then I do the appraisal, it is proper appraisal.
Yes, sir, understood.
Any recent or past activity will not influence your appraisal. You understood?
Yes, sir.
Still any doubt, Anamika? Not seems convinced. How to speak? इसकी बोलती बंद है. You can put up in chat if you wish to. Okay, you just mark this question. Let's go through the remaining things. Then you can ask. Okay, central tendency.
Yes, sir. The example is during this pandemic, the students are suffering from this situation. All the students are being marked equally, be it a topper or on an average students. Yes,
Correct.
that happens.
है ना? सारे बच्चे होशियार हैं. General tendency, yeah, central tendency, generalization, right? Everybody is doing good. सारे ही बदमाश हैं, पूरा क्लास बेकार है. So you go on a generalized way. So that is central tendency. You bring everybody to the average. अच्छा कर रहा है वो भी, खराब कर रहा है वो भी, but everybody is doing good. तो उसमें क्या है, किसी को ज्यादा नुकसान नहीं. जो अच्छा कर रहा है वो भी ज्यादा नहीं चिल्लाएगा, चलो अच्छा ही बोल रहे हैं. जो खराब कर रहा है वो भी खुश होगा, चलो अच्छा ही बोल रहे हैं. Central tendency. It is not an effective appraisal process, because in that case, the one who is doing extraordinary, you are not recognizing him. The one who have not done it, you have recognized him. So therefore, it is a bias, right? Okay. Next. Thanks.
That's it. Thanks.
So now you can stop sharing and then start speaking. आपकी आवाज हम तक नहीं पहुंच रही थी जी. Okay, so by the time she's putting up this question on the chat, we will not have session tomorrow. And if you all allow, kitni khush.
Oh, sir, actually, I was about to tell you. Sir, actually, I was about to tell you that I won't be able to attend tomorrow's class, and you just said that there will be no class. So I was so happy that I won't miss any class.
Khush ki kal chutti hai, but it was half news. Okay, the continuation is we will have day after tomorrow. सारे वीडियो ऑफ कर दिए. सर आधा ही सुना हमने, कल छुट्टी तक वाला सुना. उसके बाद आपने क्या बोला हमारे तक आवाज ही नहीं है.
No, sir, we hear it very clearly. And
okay, so Anamika has a lot of counter doubts and she will clear in next class. Okay, you have another class. So when can we schedule? Say, tomorrow it will be difficult for me because of some other, pressing issues. I will not be able. So I was thinking to have it on Monday. If you all have difficulties on Monday, please let me know. Tuesday or Wednesday or next week again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, however is comfortable, whatever is comfortable.
Sir, I'm comfortable with any time.
Monday will do, Anamika. Okay, sir, same time. Day after tomorrow. So we have it on Monday or we have it on Tuesday? I just have this.
So what will be the timing? This 6 to 8?
I think this is the scheduled time. You tell me. See, everyone can decide and let me know, and we can plan accordingly. Tomorrow it will be difficult for me. Therefore, on Monday, you tell me 4 to 6. You tell me 8 to 10. You tell me anytime in the afternoon if everybody is available.
No, sir, afternoon classes.
Whatever time is convenient to you, you let me know. You want 5 to 7. You want 4 to 6. 4 to 6, I think Ruchi may have some difficulty, if not all of you. I don't know how are you scheduled for the day. So it can be Monday 4 to 6 or Tuesday 6 to 8.
So I'm okay with the both time.
Yeah, Prachi, Akriti, you have any difficulty any day?
No, sir. After 4, I will be free.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Monday will be having your classes 5 to 6. So after 6, if we keep 6:30 to 8:30, it is okay? So then it is same time. Na? We generally start 6:15. We'll start 6:30 on that day. So Monday 6:30, we connect again. So tomorrow, enjoy your Sunday. कल छुट्टी इतना खुश जान छुट्टी मंडे तो फिर बोल देंगे सर मेरा दूसरा क्लास चल रहा था तो लेट हो गई. Okay, fine. So see, Monday again, when we start, I'll show you certain templates on how KRA, KPI have been articulated. Though it is an assignment to you, but with one example, we'll again try to understand that how this entire process works. So as an HR, you are on both the sides. You are appraiser, you are appraisee also. And then you are the process owner. So every HR head is a process owner of appraisal process for the entire organization. Right? So one is my own performance, which I am assessing. I am assessing the performance of the subordinate. And then I am receiving all such performance across. सबका आ गया मेरे पास. अभी 1000 एम्प्लॉइज है ना, सबको देना है, पैसा बांटना है. सबने लिख दिया ये एक्सीलेंट है, एक्सीलेंट एक्सीलेंट है, तो सबको तो नहीं कर सकते प्रमोट. So then what role you play, or how then it works, how it gets, things get normalized, what are the conflicts in that area. So those are certain points that we will discuss when we connect on Monday, right? So Monday we connect at 6:30. You please share it among your all Vidyarthis. I'll also put up on the group, right? So have a happy Sunday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, take care.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.